Today, I want to talk about a very tricky and unfortunate and kind of seductive mindset that can pop into your head as a person who wants to create things, a trap that you can easily fall into if you've ever had an idea and then seen somebody else get successful off of an extremely similar idea. This is what I want to tackle today. That feeling of, oh man, if only I had gotten to it first. If only I had been the first one to invent whatever it may be. We've all seen people have those moments. Maybe we've had those moments, but there's the sort of archetype of a person who goes, oh man, missed my shot at this invention, missed my shot at being a millionaire if I had just started a little sooner, right? And I'm talking about this idea because the other day I played a game that reminded me, deeply reminded me, of the very idea that got me started doing game development. And I saw this game and I went, oh my God, this is basically the concept that got me interested in game dev. But I looked at it and I went, I'm not ready to tackle that. Hopefully nobody else does it before I get around to it. And then whoops, somebody else made it. But they didn't make exactly the game that I want to make. And that's kind of the core idea that I'm going to get to. If you didn't make the game, you can't say that somebody else made exactly what you were going to make. It's very easy to say, oh, I had a story idea. I had an idea for this world of wizards and witches, and you track them from like middle school to high school. You discover that you have magical powers, and you become a witch or a wizard, and we're going to go through school with them. It's very easy to say, I had that idea before it was ever written, but could you have executed on it? Would it have looked the same? Would it have been that popular? Or would it have been something completely different and completely your own? And here's an interesting twist. If somebody's already done it, does that mean you can't still do it in a way that's interesting and completely your own? This is Game, Develop, Repeat. I'm your host, Chris. Let's get started. Before I dig really deep into the development side of things, let's talk about a couple games I've been playing lately that have had an impact on this whole idea, this whole conversation. I played a game called Fields of Mystria today and a tiny bit yesterday. I've got about 2 hours in it, and it's good. It is a Stardew Valley style thing, and I say that because it is heavily influenced by Stardew Valley, right? But it does its own spin. It's got its own aesthetic. It's doing some things differently. Still in early access. It's good. It's very enjoyable. I tend to bounce off of things that are in this genre, right? I like Stardew Valley so much that whenever I play something else in the genre, I usually end up going back and playing Stardew Valley more. So maybe I'm beating my own argument with that, but that's me, right? For somebody else, this game is going to be their favorite over Stardew Valley, right? It's like I like this is going to sound really weird and none of you I think are going to understand this one. I like this game called Nox more than I like Diablo 2 in a lot of ways. I think I've talked about Nox in a very early episode of this show, but I in some ways think Nox is a better game than Diablo 2. And if you look into Nox, if you play the campaign on Nox, if you go through the story for that game, you're going to go, what is this guy talking about? This story is bad. This game is weird. There's a whole line of sight mechanic that I wasn't expecting, and it's just odd. How is this even being compared to Diablo 2? I mean, it's in that genre, right? It's the overhead action RPG thing. Very, very weird pick. But the multiplayer in that game is mind blowing. The vision mechanic really adds something to the mix. There's almost a little horror element in the game, not necessarily intentionally. I don't really know. There's sort of a, oh, you don't know that there's an enemy around the corner thing. Nox manages to execute on smaller scale combat in a way that other action RPGs never really did. At least not the ones that I've played. Most action RPGs are hordes and hordes of enemies, and Nox was very like tight, like almost arena kind of combat between you and a few enemies. It was never crazy, crazy hectic amounts of enemies. And the gameplay was good. Like good. And it came out around the same time as Diablo 2. And it was so, I think it technically may have come out before Diablo 2, but it was so much of a bomb. Like it did not succeed. And the story was so bad that my brother and I used to joke about it, like destroying Westwood, because it was made by Westwood. I don't know if it was actually a bomb. I always say that. I always think that because nobody knows about this game and so on and so on. It has like a cult following, and maybe it was a success financially, maybe it was a loss. But in my mind, what a weird freaking game. But I like it more than Diablo 2 in a lot of ways. There are some ways, I spent more time on Diablo 2, blah, 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 blah. Nox kind of left a bigger impact on me design-wise. I look at it and I see these moments of charm and beauty and fascinating decisions for the multiplayer mechanics. Oh my God, it's so good. You can javelin your opponent and drag them across the whole stage and charge yourself into a wall and stuff. It's great. There's distinct class mechanics for the wizard, the conjurer, the warrior. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. And in that way, people enjoy the niche kind of follow-up game as much, if not more, than the genre-defining game, right? You can have all of these little games that pivot off of the game that you wish that you had made, right? Everybody wants to be the one who makes the greatest game in the genre, the iconic one that all of the other ones sprout off of. But, I mean, what are your favorite games? Are they the deep cut ones, or are they the really big, huge, iconic ones? One of my family members really likes Bone Razor Minions, which is a game in the same genre as Vampire Survivors that is totally different. And I saw somebody leave a review that mentioned Bone Razor Minions as like a meh game. They were like, hey, it's fine within the genre. I'm like, this is a really good version of this genre. I hate the way the dialogue is in this freaking thing. It's terrible. I find it really annoying, but the game is really good. I think it's an excellent execution on the whole survivor-like idea with more interesting sort of character. How do I put this? Combat choices. I don't really know how to explain it. Maybe watch the trailer. But that one, Bone Razor Minions, is another example. Like, some people are going to like that more than they like Vampire Survivors. Some people are going to like weird, niche, spin-off games more than they like the OG. And if you are somebody who has been looking at the huge success game and going, that was my idea. I thought of that, or I should have thought of that, and now it's been done, and nobody can ever do it again, so I might as well not make anything. Well, you're wrong. There's not many things on this podcast where I'm going to say you're wrong, but you're wrong. You're objectively wrong. You can make incredible stuff. Now, will it make you a millionaire and have all this wild success and be the most successful thing in the genre or whatever? Fine. No, it won't. All right. Maybe you're right there. Maybe. We don't know. We can't predict the future. But you can make something interesting that adds to the genre, and you can evolve your own game development sensibilities. But I'm getting too deep into the development side of things right now. Another game that I've been playing recently, and by been playing, I mean, I played like, just the tiniest bit of this. There was a game called, oh boy, oh no, what's the name of this? Sea Fantasy. It is a fishing JRPG. Now, I haven't talked about this because I've been trying to keep this idea very quiet for the longest time, but the reason that I got into developing games is because I wanted to make a fishing JRPG. I had a very clear idea of the whole concept. I still have a clear idea of the concept. It is different from this game. But when I saw the trailer for this game, I went, oh, somebody made the fishing JRPG. The JRPG where fishing is the combat. Oops, uh-oh, that was the idea that I wanted to do. And I was like, oh no. It's not, I played it and it's completely different from what I wanted to do. I had thought about the idea enough. I'd gotten just deep enough into the brainstorming process and the drafting and just writing out game design ideas to where when somebody else made a game very similar to what I was thinking about, I was able to look back at it and, I had that instinctive, oh my God, they made the game I wanted to make. And then I started thinking about the game I actually wanted to make and I went, hold on. My entire concept was completely different from this. The core idea, sure, sure, there's some similarities there, but boy, these two games are very different. I can still make the game that I was interested in making, right? It's not like the idea is closed off. In fact, I can look at their game, play it, go, this is sort of a little thing I can learn lessons from. I can look at their combat and go, that is an interesting idea. This doesn't quite land for me. I want to do this differently. This is not the combat system that I want, which is good because it wasn't the combat system I was thinking of anyway. Or I can look at it and I can go, oh, this element really adds a lot. This kind of takes away from it, so on and so on. And I can play with different game mechanics because I can learn from somebody else's mistakes or somebody else's choices even. Not even mistakes, just things that I would rather not do, things that I would rather do differently, right? There are so many opportunities when somebody makes something similar to whatever you were thinking about. And I'm not talking about friggin' intellectual theft. I'm talking about learning lessons, seeing where you can make your own thing distinctive, noticing your own taste, going, oh, that's not what I would do. Oh, I have this whole different idea. Oh, my idea is a distinct idea from this one. Or even, oh, this kind of did execute on what I wanted, and, that's cool that exists. I guess now I don't have to make that game. I can make something else. It opens you up to do something else. If genuinely somebody made exactly the game that you wanted to make, congratulations, you get to play it without putting in all the work. And if you really want to put in the work and make the game, cool, make it for the sake of making it. But, now you can move on. Somebody else did the work for you. Cool. Next game. I'm already slipping into it, so I guess it's time to talk about game development. First, the check-in. It will be a very brief check-in. I don't want to bore you with all the programming details, blah, 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 blah. But I have done a bit of programming this week. I did succeed so far in my goal of opening up Godot every day, and I did a little bit every day. Some days it was an hour. Some days it was 5 minutes. Some days better than others, but it was good. I feel good about it. Even the days where I barely touched it, I planted an idea in the back of my head and went, oh, maybe I need to do it this way, that way, the other way. I've started working on I'm not going to say the theming for this game, but it is a JRPG kind of idea, turn-based combat kind of idea. I haven't fleshed out the combat concept yet. That's what I've been working on, is this combat prototype. And so far, I'm trying to do, somewhat action-focused combat, a combat system where you have to react to things. When you attack, you have to do something with that. When the enemy attacks, you have to do something with that. It is not just a number that shows up on your screen. It is not just stat manipulation and resource management. There's a little more to it in terms of player reactivity, and I don't know, that's what appeals to me. That's what I like. So, within that concept, I basically have started trying to prototype and really just came back to getting a grip on Godot and the input system and understanding how events work in a way that I didn't understand before, and just kind of clicking in and going, oh yeah, this is how I use Godot. There's the input system. There's how I do this. Here's how I make something move. What's a rigid body again? Oh, I don't want to use that for this. I want to use this over here. Reminding myself of weird little quirks, and boom, locking it back in. Essentially, all I've made so far is a thing that prompts you to hit a button, and then you hit the button, and it's got some visuals for it. And then I made a kind of a meter that goes up and down and hits different points. And the idea is that I'm going to connect that to the input, so it hits here, and then you have to hit a button within a certain time frame, and then it hits here, and then you have to hit a button within a certain time frame. You know, kind of a time limited QuickTime event thing. That's a terrible description of it, but you know, you have half a second to hit A, you have half a second to hit X, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, no, that's not it. No, there's something else going on here. I need to draw from something else. And I've started thinking about the mechanics, the combat mechanics from Undertale a little bit. I've started looking at those and going, can I draw a little inspiration from here? Now, I don't want to go all the way in on that because that's not quite the game I'm trying to make, right? I want it to be a turn-based thing, but I don't want it to be so mini-game driven in the combat. That is very cool combat, by the way. I appreciate it a lot. But I do want something there. I want something other than just my initial plan, which was hit this button at the right time, right? My idea was, here's the line, hit this button, mash this button, hit this button. I don't know. It's not quite playing out the way that I want it to. And with the theming that I have, which I'm going to be vague about, I want your opponents to not necessarily be something that you defeat, so to say, right? It's not really, I'm not really wanting you to, like, beat your opponent down. This is why I started thinking about Undertale, because I was like, this is a game that has the whole thing where you don't necessarily beat them, but there's like a thematic thing you're doing instead. And I feel like there's something I'm missing still. Playing with it, it's not like resource management based, really. I mean, it should be. I don't know. I'm struggling with it, so I'm going to try and draw inspiration from wherever I can and come up with my own particular spin on this, because I've always liked turn-based combat, and I've always hated turn-based combat, and I'm trying to find the version of it that I like with a lot less of what I hate. Expedition 33 is one of the first games to execute on turn-based combat in a way where I go, okay, I like this, just straight up. Legend of Dragoon was one of those games. I think the very first episode of this show is about Legend of Dragoon because it is incredible and well-designed and kind of a masterpiece in my mind. I love that game so much. So that's what I'm shooting for in terms of my development. And how does that relate to this topic today? This whole, oh, you missed your shot, bud thing? I just want to make the point that you never missed your shot. There's no missing your shot. That's not, I mean, look, there is such a thing as like a missed opportunity, right? But once it's done, you can't go back in time, so you just got to go, okay, what do I do from here? You know, you're like, well, I didn't have a shot, really, because if I did have a shot, then I would have done it. I don't know how else to explain that. I know that's a ridiculous way of explaining it, and I know that it makes no sense. But to some extent, you weren't gonna do it, which is why you didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's in the past. You weren't gonna do it, which is why you didn't do it. Now you can do something else. So just like, don't blame past self, whatever, screw it. Who cares? Do something now. Make something because you want to make something, not because it's going to be the greatest game that was ever made in the genre and blah, 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 blah. Okay, now I'm getting now I'm getting a little intense for a second. But I've gotten more and more annoyed with the idea of accomplishing something great. I've gotten to where I'm like, can't I just make something that I really like? Okay, let me give you context, and maybe this is too much personal context, but whatever. You've been here for at least a few episodes, maybe 129 of them. So here's the context. I've always wanted to achieve something great. I've always had that thing in me that's like, I want to be the guy who makes this incredible thing. Right? I want to pull off this masterpiece. I want to get so good at something. And just to have people be like, oh my God, what an incredible accomplishment. How did you do that? Right? It's very egotistical and kind of lame. And as I get older and as I mature and as I do whatever and as I actually create stuff and like genuinely take steps forward, I get more and more tired of that idea. I get more and more annoyed with this weird fascination with creating something great, because you know what something great really is? Anything that has a positive impact on somebody, man. Or even an impact. I don't know. Like if you make a game that is somebody's favorite game, you made something great. If you brighten somebody's day for like an hour, that's pretty cool, man. Like just going about your day, if you're making other people's day a better thing for them, then you're kind of crushing it, right? Like, and if you can have a pretty wide impact, cool, but I think past a certain point it's like you can't even measure that, so whatever. And what we're gonna set an expectation for ourselves of, oh, it doesn't mean anything if I didn't impact at least 500,000 people, if I didn't have an impact on at least 50,000 people, if that many people didn't like the thing that I made, then it doesn't even matter. What are we doing? If you had an impact on 100 people, that is massive. If you had an impact on 10 people, that's massive. Whatever we can do for each other, you know? And I know I'm getting off on just a complete and total tangent here, but like, come on, man. I'm talking to myself here, so just bear with me. I can't stand it. It bothers me whenever I slip into that mindset of, oh, it's got to be great, or I might as well not do it. No, no, dude. It's just have fun with it. Express something, you know? Make something because you want to make something. And even if nobody gets anything out of it, you get something out of that. And then you take that out into the world with you. You walk around going about your day knowing that you did this thing. And then maybe you're in a better mood. Or maybe you're able to pay more attention to other people because you don't have this thing in the back of your head that's like, oh, if only I could do this, that, or the other. No, because you started experimenting with it. You start to really figure out who you are, what you want to make, what you want to do. You know, there's no missing your shot. I just don't buy it. I mean, maybe I'm talking myself into this. Maybe this is all just cope, but I don't think it is. I for so long I've been like, oh, I've had so many opportunities that I blew and I could have done this, that, the other, blah, 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 blah. It's in the past, dude. And now you can learn from everything and you can just move forward and not miss your next shot. I'm not sure that I have a question for you quite yet. I'm sure it'll come to me, but first I just want to tell you about a miscellaneous thing in my life. I have started leaning towards learning Linux. Why? Because Windows is annoying me and I don't like it and I'm getting fed up and I don't want to do Windows 11. So I'm gonna start learning some Linux stuff, and maybe down the line, maybe I switch over to just full on Linux as my daily driver. But for now, I'm just playing around with the shell, learning some commands, typing stuff, and I like it. I had so much fun today messing around with Linux. And just like I'm doing this thing that teaches you Linux. It's hold on, let me get the name of it for you because this is relevant. It is a thing called Over the Wire Bandit. And you connect to it via SSH. I am doing it on a spare crappy laptop because I don't know much about any of this, so I'd rather just have it be on my Linux laptop from however long ago that is basically dead anyway. And the fact that that laptop works at all is entirely a Linux thing. It would not be functional right now on Windows. It's wonderful. So I am exploring that. It's kind of fun. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that leads me to my question. What do you have fun with? Like creatively, what makes you happy? What makes you go, this is kind of fun, this is kind of exciting, I'm enjoying myself? Because I feel like you should, I feel like I'm talking about myself again and projecting it onto you. I feel like I should do more of the things that I have fun with. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe it's not. But I had a lot of fun using SSH to like remote connect to this thing because I felt like a wizard. I was like, I don't know anything about this, and I'm like a sick hacker now because I've learned how to navigate my file structure via text, which is like not that cool, but it's pretty cool. I was having fun with it. So that's sick. That was enjoyable, and now I'm like, oh my God, maybe I could learn to remote into my machine and like program my home like use my home computer for stuff from like a laptop or something. I don't know. There's probably all sorts of crazy weird stuff you can do with it. I have no idea. I mean, I guess SSH is purely text, like no graphical interface. But the point is, technology is crazy and it's magic. And my question for you, once again, sorry, I'm losing it here. My question is, what do you have fun with? What about creating stuff? Or not even what about. Don't get all deep, philosophical, analytical with it. Just what are the moments that make you go, oh man, that was fun? Go do that. There's your homework. I used to be a teacher. I'm giving you homework. Go do a fun thing creatively. Sketch something out. It doesn't even you don't have to finish a thing. Just do a fun thing creatively. There you go. That's your homework. Feel free to not do it. You're not being graded. You don't have to turn it in. If you do want to turn it in, if you want to brag about anything that you do, hop into the Discord. I haven't been as active on the Discord lately because of day job stuff, but hop in there. Shoot us a message. Show off what's going on. There's a link in the description box. I don't know what platform you're listening on, but there's a link there to join the Discord so you can check it out. That's everything. That's what I've got. Thank you all for joining me, as always. And until next time, get out there, make some stuff, and, wait, here it is, every time, have fun with it. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.